Thanks for joining us on a super special edition of Two Guys and a Lot of Wine right in front of the beautiful West Hartford Town Hall. And we have a great show for you today. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. I'm joined by two guests, one of which won at the NORCOM Beer and Wine Tasting, our prize package, and that is Shelly Flieger. I think you've been on our show before.
How?
Thank you very much. And she's also joined by Laura Bogart. And we're going to be drinking Rieslings, a red, and Rocky is going to demonstrate his first sabering on live television for you in front of West Hartford Town Hall.
What could ever go wrong, Bobby?
You tell us, Rocky, what can go wrong?
So for those of you that don't know, sparkling wine bottles are made such that if you strike the lid with a blade just underneath here, the end breaks off clean. It's a really cool parlor trick. If it's not done correctly, though, you can explode the bottle, which is not cool. So there are some safety precautions that you want to take. First of all, you want to make sure that you remove the foil and the capsule from the top of the bottle. Very important. Secondly, you want the neck to be at least as cold as the base. So I recommend chilling it upside down for at least 10 minutes in an ice bath before doing this. Okay, and then if you look at the bottle really closely, you can see where the two sides come together is how they make the bottle, and there's like a slight line. So sometimes one of the lines thicker than the other. This one's a little thicker than the other. So you want to take the blade and you want to run it just up that line, strike it right here, and it pops right off, right?
Well, I'm very excited. I've seen Rocky do this before with both success and only one non-success.
I've had a failure of probably a couple dozen. I've actually failed it just once, so we'll see what happens.
This looks scary, but I think it's going to work. Rocky, I think the cameras are going to get this. You guys all set? I think
Should we move back?
No, I'm going to aim it this way. The best way to do it, you just want to pretend like you're swinging a golf club, just up and through, and it pops right off. So here we go. And another thing, so there you are. You can see how that.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Another thing I forgot to mention is make sure that no one is standing in front of you, because I've seen these things shoot up to 30 feet before. So.
And as I'm pouring, Rocky, what did you just saber tonight? If I can have your glass.
This is a Mum Napa. It's Brut Prestige. Obviously comes from Napa Valley. It's delicious. It's made in the method traditionnel, which is the way that they make champagne in France, which just means that it is aged inside the bottle as opposed to large tanks like they do with Prosecco.
And we should tell the audience that you will get some glass breakage, but it goes forward.
It breaks clean. So
it doesn't go into the bottle.
Based on the design, you don't have to worry about like shards of glass.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you, Rocky, for that superb sabering.
Loved the entertainment.
Oh, that's delicious.
I like that. By the way, if you're sabering at home, this is a special blade made for sabering. You want to use a butcher knife because most people probably don't have a saber just laying around the house for sabering wine. Make sure you use the dull edge of the butcher knife because, as you can see, this is a dull edge. You don't want a sharp edge. It'll dull your knife and it'll explode your bottle. So there you go.
And Rocky,
everyone can't wait.
Rocky is the only person I know with a saber knife, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I should
Santa got me that one.
I should also mention that part of this show was also, and you could look this up online, is Cheez-It pairings with wine, both white and red. Supposedly it's the big thing now, whether it's the standard cheddar Cheez-Its, the white cheddar. There's numerous other flavors. I only have two on the show tonight, but supposedly they all go very well with wine. I know Sandy, Rocky's wife, doesn't believe some of them will go well, but we'll check on that later. But what's the price point on the Mum Napa, Rocky?
This is the first time I've ever had a fly land on my hand while doing this. The price on this is between $18 to $23, somewhere in that range. So
it tastes expensive, though. It's kind of nice.
It's a lot more expensive than it actually is. I mean, some of the stuff out of Napa Valleys can be a pretty good bargain in wine. So.
What do you think, Laura?
Delicious. Absolutely delicious.
And if you're into points, this is a 92 point, I believe, Wine Spectator.
And you'll all notice, no champagne glasses anymore. We're drinking bubbles and champagne out of regular wine glasses now, as you're supposed to.
I'm a big fan of using a regular glass for champagne.
Not me.
It is nice to see the bubbles rising up.
I agree.
On the glass.
So elegant.
It almost kind of makes it taste better, but it's a little tougher to smell the wine. So.
This was a great way to start.
Yeah, that was the first time we've ever been able to do that. I've always wanted to do that, but obviously in studio, it's kind of tough especially if you accidentally
Yes.
explode the bottle. There's going to be a lot of cleanup involved.
Yes, I don't think we could do it in studio.
I don't think that would be a possibility. I'd have to have a big tarp to do that in studio.
After 9 years, this is our first fully outside show. So
Excellent.
it took 9 years to get a sabered bottle.
Yep.
So we have three other interesting wines for you tonight. And I think, Rocky, you want me to start with the Picpoul, or should I start with the Riesling?
Oh, that's a tough call. Let's probably go Picpoul first because it's a little fresher. It's going to be a little bit closer in structure to what we just had. And then we're going to transition to the Riesling is a little older and it's got kind of a little bit more punch to it, a little pungent thing going on.
And the Picpoul, which I believe is this one right here. No, yes, that's the Picpoul. The Picpoul Pinet French, that is from the Languedoc region of France.
Yep.
Which is the Mediterranean coast. So you tend to get a kind of citrusy, refreshing aroma and both tastes with this.
Nice.
So are you a white drinker, generally? I know you just came back from the Finger Lakes, you said.
I did.
So, now,
I
Rocky,
love
look,
white.
hold on one second. Laura still has champagne in her cup. Now, completely
I was
unacceptable.
going to say, we don't have dump buckets, but we are outside and we want to get the squirrels dropped.
If you want to just throw it over your head, that's fine if you can't finish. You want to pass me your glass?
Good luck to toss the wine over your shoulder. I can't remember if it's the right shoulder
Onto
or
the
the left.
steps. I would not waste this by throwing it over my shoulder, ever.
So the wine, the grape varietal, is a Picpoul Blanc, I believe.
Picpoul Blanc, it's originally from the Rhone Valley. This is from the south of France, you said, Languedoc.
Yes.
Languedoc picks up just about every varietal in the world. Languedoc's a little further to the west from the Rhone, and it's down in the south of France, and they have some of the best bargains in wine that you can find. Our rosé that we buy by the case is from the Languedoc, and we love it. It's just, you get a lot of flavor, the hotter weather gives you a little bit more flavor, similar to like what you would find in places like California, Argentina.
And even though this show is going to be airing in September, I think all the wines here are good September wines. I think the Picpoul could be drunk in the summer, and I think it'd be drunk this time of year as it gets a little bit cooler. The show's going to air in September.
So this is what we call a porch pounder, and that's to differentiate from some whites that you can really only drink with food, which I would put in like the California Chardonnay. Some people can drink that right out of the bottle on the porch, but I have to have that with seafood. But this one, I could obviously have it with seafood, but I like this one just by itself too. It's very smooth. It's very drinkable. It's dangerous if you're hanging out in the hot weather. But,
it's a perfect summer wine.
So smooth.
Now, I just tried the Cheez-It white cheddar cracker with the Picpoul. And Sandy, who's off in the audience over there, you were correct. That did not taste very good.
You don't recommend that?
I would not recommend the white cheddar with the Picpoul.
Okay.
I'm going to reach over you here.
Yes.
I'm going to invade your space.
Maybe we should try the other.
I might try with the standard Cheez-It.
Let's try a standard Cheez-It.
All right.
And now this wine is available locally. And Picpouls can be relatively inexpensive. They're a good value, in my opinion. Anywhere between $10 and $12.
Yes, that's a
Wow.
$10 and $12. I think this is $10.99.
I've got one of those in my house right now.
No kidding.
Wine fridge, waiting to be consumed.
Crisp and floral, but at the same time not overly sweet. So, what was your opinion on the Cheez-It? Did it go?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a C-.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, that's better than I gave it. I didn't think it was good at all.
I'm going to pass on the Cheez-It with the Cheez-It's great by itself. I don't know that it really pairs well with wine. So.
I felt it didn't do any disservice to the wine. The wine still tastes great.
Oh, good.
Well,
I think the Cheez-It's going to shine when we get to the red.
Yes.
Though I still have hopes for the Riesling with one of the Cheez-Its, so we'll see what happens.
Maybe the white cheddar.
So I wanted to say congratulations again, besides for winning our wonderful prize package. But
Thank you.
the event did pretty well this year, didn't it?
It did. We have an annual fundraiser, the NORCOM Cares wine and beer annual event, and
At the North House.
at the North House we had a huge showing, great crowd, so much fun, and really want to thank you for your sponsorship and your support.
And that was in February, right?
Yes.
That was right before all the insanity.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we forget that 2020 actually had 2 normal months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
that's
last
really
event
before.
I attended was the NORCOM.
I actually think that was our last big event too.
A little bit of fun.
Normally I have at least 6 more during the summer, but nothing this year, nothing. Just small groups like this, and Rocky and I having a few intimate get-togethers with wine tastings, but it's been a quiet summer this year. So, all right, so I'm going to give that a thumbs up because, I brought it, and I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
It was excellent. I loved it.
And I should say, for those who are a little sometimes still nervous about French wines, this is a good French wine to get. That's not overpowering. It's not too complicated. It's very simple, very smooth.
And there's nothing that, like, normally if I drink a wine, I go, oh, that tastes like lemon or lime or peach. Or when I take a sip of Picpoul, I don't really know what the defining characteristic. It doesn't taste like an apple or some kind of orchard fruit. It doesn't taste like lemon or lime or citrus thing. It's just a tasty wine. It's just a basic, good tasting.
It's just there.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
just there.
normally drink French white, and I thought it was excellent. Very smooth. I was very
Got to
surprised.
broaden your palate.
Well, there's only one problem, Laura and Sherry. You still got the wine in the glass. I guess I'm pouring too big of a pour.
I am guilty of pouring.
We're savoring it. We're just taking our time.
That's perfect. But you got 2 other glasses here. We can go.
Yeah, we can use this glass.
So I'm going to go into the Riesling next and do a little. We're going to talk a little about Riesling because Rocky, we've done a Riesling. Did we do a Riesling show a while back?
We did one a long time ago, I believe. Yeah.
And
I want to say.
so we have a Riesling Grand Cru 2012. One of the better Rieslings you can get. And Rieslings do come in a lot of different varietals. I think Rocky said prime. So we're outside. There's the motorcycles. But this one has some age to it. It's from the Alsace region of France. So even that's the wrong one. You see it? I guess my pour's been too big.
Where is this from again? I'm
This
sorry.
is also from the. From the Rhine region.
So this is from Germany. It's Rhine region of Germany. I don't know how.
Actually, this.
Actually,
Isn't it
recently
Alsace?
did a online class on this. I should probably know more about it. But Grand Cru just means it's really good. Oh no, so this is Alsace. So Alsace.
Yeah, this is
French.
French.
Part of Germany, but that's,
All that matters is how it tastes.
You're talking about France, right on We're outside. This is great. So you're talking about France, right on the German border. And the interesting thing about the Alsace region is that it's traded between France and Germany throughout various wars over the years, and you have generations where one generation spoke a different language from their father and grandfather back and forth. But Alsace Rieslings are maybe a little higher in alcohol, I guess, maybe a little crisper than you would get from some of the ones in Germany, but they're delicious and they're a great bargain. And Grand Cru is the highest designation that they have there, and I have high hopes here.
Yeah, my notes said that Riesling originated in the Rhine region
That makes sense.
of Germany, but where this wine comes from in France, they're pretty much neighbors. So you get both a similar but unique characteristic from the Alsace region. They tend to be a little pricier, anywhere from $22 to $25 and higher up. I think this is about $22 or $23.
And we should mention that this is 8 years old, and you don't typically want to age white wines. Most white wines don't do well with age, but Riesling is probably the one that's known the most for aging in white wines. And Riesling actually, before Bordeaux was the king of wines, Riesling was actually the most expensive, most highly coveted wine, many years ago. So, and it's still highly coveted, and there's a lot of really expensive Rieslings. But you can age Riesling because it has a lot of acid in it, and so the flavor of an aged white wine is not for everyone. But if you like it, you love it, and so it's kind of one of those things that grows on you if you drink a lot of wine. So I'm curious to get your all's take.
Yeah, I'm curious what the ladies think.
Well, Riesling is one of my favorites, and I think sometimes it gets a bad rap because people think, oh, that's a sweet wine, but not all Riesling is sweet.
Yeah.
No, actually, there's three designations of Riesling.
Exactly, and I love the minerality of Riesling, and this has nice minerality.
Crazy minerality.
Yeah.
It's great. It's big on everything. Some wines are big on acid, some are big on tannin, some are big on alcohol, and this is like everything. Well, not tannin, because but it's big on fruit, it's big on acid, and it's typically this one. I'd probably put this one at about 12.5% maybe. Which is where we going here?
Front?
13.
13.
So, for a white wine, but it's just big and bold, and you can age it, and takes on new flavors. I've had white wines that are like 30 years old and they start to taste like creme brulee.
Yeah, it's true.
But you know, there's a curve where you age it, it's better, and then
It
it's
starts
like,
to
and
fall
then it's
off.
like, you better drink that thing now because it's
You
not going
can
to
see the color on this. It's so golden.
It's a beautiful color. And I think the only thing that sometimes scares some people, and even myself sometimes, though I not quite as much, is you want it a little chill. And with white wine, Rieslings, if you pour too big of a pour, unless you drink it fast,
Yes.
it starts getting warm.
Absolutely.
So what Rocky and I normally do, and I think we've talked about this before, is we do smaller pours if you have a chilled white. And this way you can go back to the bottom. This way you're always getting it at a better temperature.
And I highly recommend getting these vacuum bins for it, especially if you're sitting outside.
You can't go wrong.
It's cold. And they're great. And it's a lot less mess than this thing right here. It's getting everywhere. You know, I mean, it's just what happens.
Oh, and we should also say, Rieslings are very rarely oaked, correct? I believe that's the case?
Not very often,
Yeah,
I would say that they're not oaked that often.
So you're not going to get any oakiness in a Riesling as you might expect.
Well, I'll take that tip of a smaller pour because my mother-in-law will tend to go and grab the ice cube and plop it in. I'm like, no,
oh
please
boy,
don't
yeah,
do
that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
So the smaller pours will solve that problem.
The ice cube, it's some people love that ice cube in the wine. I've seen people do it with red wine.
Well, but to your point that once you're drinking it, if the pour is too large
for white wine, it's a problem.
Right.
And you see it both in restaurants. You see it when you go to functions, even when you go to some of the NORCOM events. If you're walking around with a white wine and you got too much in there, you're talking, you forget about it. Even though we generally don't forget about our wine, it's a little too warm. It doesn't taste as good. So, and by the way, I want to also point out I tried the standard cheese it with the Riesling, and I actually like it.
You want to hand me a standard?
Yeah, I do. Sandy in the audience is ignoring me on that one.
So you should try the white and the cheddar. The white and the standard.
You're right. I'm sure.
Got to give it a face shake.
So this is the white Cheez-It.
All right, I'm going to try the white Cheez-It.
Me too.
So I have the standard Cheez-It.
I've never had a white Cheez-It
Standard
before.
Cheez-It wasn't bad.
Yeah, that works.
The white Cheez-It I still don't think works. I think that's going to go better with the red. So, yet again, another thumbs up for the Riesling. I mean, I think it's a good value. It's under $25. It's Grand Cru, and I think you wouldn't be disappointed having it. So, thumbs up.
Thumbs up for me too.
Ladies,
how did you guys, ladies, feel
compared to the first white? Do you like this one better?
It's a thumbs down for me.
Oh, thumbs down. Okay,
that's not surprising to me. Aged white wines are not something that most people reach for.
Yeah, that's the aging on it for me is a little too much.
Now, both Laura and Sherry have wine in both their glasses. We cannot give them any red.
Okay.
Because there is wine in their glasses.
If you guys had to describe what the aged white wine tastes like,
you know, it wasn't so much the taste because the taste was better than the smell that I.
The smell can be funky, like
the smell was
or something, but the taste is.
It was a mix of like acidy, vinegary smell. I'm trying to pinpoint the smell.
Like a plasticky, almost like you get from if you smell like fresh Tupperware or something like that.
Yeah,
it's very distinct flavor.
But I didn't hate it. I mean, if someone served this to me, I would not have said take it back. I would have drank it.
I'm just curious if it was a tad bit colder, if your opinion would have been a little bit different. But once again, that's the problem with white wines, especially some of them. If they're not cold or not at the right temperature, people just don't like them. So
I think that aged wine really does have you have to have the palate for that, I think.
Yeah, I know there was a wine store or a wine restaurant up the road here that the GM, I was talking to him, they had an aged white Albarino that was aged like 12 years and it just sat there. Nobody ever ordered.
Nobody wanted to take a chance.
And it's too bad. They got a great deal on it, but nobody wanted it. So.
All right, so we have was it a Montepulciano?
Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. I've been chilling it because
Laura knows that region.
So there's a grape in Italy called Vino Nobile de Montepulciano, which is actually the Sangiovese grape. This is also called, this is a huge confusion for a lot of people, including myself. Montepulciano d'Abruzzo is actually from a region very near there, but it's a completely different, that's the actual grape is the Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. So it's, I don't know how I would describe it, because sometimes it can be fruity, sometimes it can be not so fruity.
Oh, I like how that looks already.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can be on the
Thank you.
brooding dark fruit. Sometimes it can be on the red fruit side. But I really don't drink a lot of this varietal. But it's for the region in Tuscany and around there. Some of these can be really high priced. This is typically a good bargain in wine, and this is a great pasta wine too.
Like most Italian wines, they're very good for paired with food.
Paired with food, yeah. Red sauce.
What is the price point on this? Did I miss you saying?
This one is between like $11 to $14.
Wow, excellent.
It's not,
That's good.
And I think you can find a lot of Montepulcianos in that price range. There's a lot of Italian reds in that price point, which are pretty damn good.
Oh, I already like it.
Oh, that's a winner, Rob. That's a winner.
And so it's similar to like a Chianti, but it's not Chianti. And I guess
Yeah.
it doesn't have that kind of like minerality iron characteristic of Chianti that if that makes any sense. Maybe it's a little more on the kind of cherry-ish.
Licorice.
Yes,
Yeah,
cherry.
licorice thing.
Mhm.
So, but
It's delish.
it's really good for pasta. I mean,
Bring on the
you got to
chocolate.
try this with pasta sometime. And it's by itself, obviously.
And to get back to our Cheez-It theme, the standard Cheez-It actually pairs very well with this, as it should, because most cheese would pair pretty well with a red wine.
Try this.
You got a standard one?
Nope, very
Good
good.
I agree
point.
with
Good
that.
point. Mm-hmm.
Now these are fun tastings to do. I think Rocky was telling me Sandy did an Oreo tasting at one time. Oreos actually pair very well. I think Sandy was a red and mostly red wines, I think.
We did 5 bottles and 5
I've been a case study of that. Absolutely.
really cool. Everybody was like, "Wow, this really does pair."
You're a
well."
fan of the
This was like 5 years
Oreo,
ago. I
yeah.
can't remember what wines.
And there's so many different flavors of Oreos now.
Blown away by how well it paired with these Oreos.
Well, now let's talk about that. It needs to be a standard, regular Oreo.
But,
No fancy.
but if it's a double stuff,
No
it means
double stuff.
no double stuff.
Double stuff will overpower.
Now they're
Needs to be a
selling
regular.
just the. Have you seen this? They sell just the stuffing from the
Oh,
Oreo.
that's
Oh.
a terrible
By
idea.
itself, like,
No.
That's a hard.
Now, see, the ultimate would be just the wafers of the Oreo with
Oh,
this
yeah.
one.
This is a 2 thumbs up for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll take the bottle.
So, are you normally a red wine drinker a bit?
I'm both.
Yeah.
It really just depends on what I'm feeling like, what I'm having,
To me, it depends on the weather.
and the weather.
During the summer,
weather.
I don't ever drink red wine, hardly ever.
Yeah, it's very difficult to drink red wine in the summer.
It
yeah.
is.
And then during the winter, I don't ever reach for white wine.
I mean, we're outside here in the end of almost near the end of August, and the temperature has dropped. It's a beautiful night here in West Hartford Center. This red is absolutely delicious. Just
It is.
absolutely delicious.
It really
for
is.
the price point.
And so are the Cheez-Its.
So. Also good for the price point.
Yeah, that's a great price point.
Where did you procure these
I know.
amazing Cheez-Its?
Cheez-Its are tough to find, but if you go to any grocery store and you're patient,
No, is this the 2018 or the 2017 vintage?
these are actually the newest ones.
Oh, okay.
These are the Beaujolais of Cheez-Its. The Beaujolais.
I did not know that.
This is actually bringing me back to when my children were little, and I did sustain on goldfish, standard, regular goldfish, and red wine many nights.
The thing with goldfish, and I love my goldfish, they're too small. So you end up grabbing a whole big handful and throwing them in your mouth. The Cheez-It is a good size.
Where were you 15 years ago? Such a good point.
One Cheez-It or 2 Cheez-Its compared to a whole handful of fishes, it's much more. Oh, it goes good though with the red. Good. So what's the price point on this red one?
So this one was, I think I already said, let's say 11 to, it was like an 11 to 14.
That's really good.
Somewhere around there.
And this is available local.
This one I got at Yankee Spirits in Sturbridge. I was on a mission one day. I said, I'm not going to spend over $13 on a bottle. And I went through, and because my wine budget I was getting a little out of control, and so I figured, I'm going to go through here and I'm going to try to find every bottle that I bought, like a case and a half of all wines under $13, and I think this was one of them. And they do a good job there of like just kind of describing. They've got these little cards that describe everything. You never know what you're going to get, but
Good
I would
find.
say half of them were pretty good finds. And this one, I haven't.
I love it. So we got a few minutes left in the show. It goes by so fast. So we're going to do our usual rating of best in glass, which we always forget to do.
I always forget to bring this.
So we have 4 voters here today. So best in glass. My vote for my best in glass. You know, as much as I want to pick one of mine, and I want to pick the champagne, the Mum, but that's just good. We all know that's good. I got to go with the Montepulciano at the end of the night. I got to go with the Montepulciano. Mostly because I like saying it. Montepulciano.
Montepulciano. I'm a second for the Montepulciano.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we got two for the.
I want to go with that, but I feel like I need to go with the Napa
Mum?
sparkling because not only because it's a beautiful sparkling wine, but also the presentation and the swordsmanship.
Oh,
Full package.
Yeah, it was the whole experience. So
You're
I'm
right
gonna
about
go.
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yes,
go
you
for
are.
that one.
You know, Brock, I should have given you some. I should have given you some points for that.
Some props.
But I did, and
Well,
so now
I think we're going to have a first on this show is that we're going to have to split because we're going to have a 2-2
Is
split.
it a
I'm
tie?
also going with the Mom Napa, so we're going to have to figure out a way to split
Wow.
this. You want me to just crack it in half?
Well, you know what?
I could break it on the sidewalk and then we could.
All wines, we can all get along. So we'll put the best in glass right between the two.
Put that between them. All right.
And you know what I'm going to do? Because I still have a little tiny splash. I'm going to make a burgundy bubbles with my little splash of Mums. Or Lambrusco, I should say. Lambrusco. I'm making myself a Lambrusco.
You want to pour me a Lambrusco? Let's see how that works.
You want to try a
You only live
Lambrusco?
once, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Who's going to say no to a Lambrusco?
Laura wants a Lambrusco.
And I want to emphasize Lambrusco bubbles are actually spectacular. I love Lambruscos.
I do love
I absolutely love
You
them.
need some red in that.
No, the sparkling Lambrusco. We're not talking about the old school Riesling jugs that your grandparents had with the
Thank you.
dust hanging out on it.
Do you want some?
I'll give it a
If you're
go.
if you're a sour beer drinker, I recommend trying the sparkling Lambrusco. But I got to say, if 2020 was a wine, it would probably be this.
Cheers, Rocky.
Cheers.
Kudos.
Mixture
Absolutely.
of our two top.
The important question: which cheese-it goes with
Yeah, we have.
The regular
the
standard.
regular or
You could
the?
drop the cheese in at one right in the
The white
glass,
cheddar
and we would
cheese
have
it needs to go home.
It does, yeah.
our first food.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Back
That's
in the
awful.
box.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it didn't. What is the flavor? Is that just plain crack?
That's white cheddar.
Oh, okay.
White cheddar. The
Yeah.
white cheddar doesn't work.
Has
Standard
no
cheese is good.
business being here.
They didn't have
We
a lot
want
of-
the classic, just like the classic
Absolutely.
Oreo.
Yep.
So I want to thank Shelly. I want to thank Laura. This has been fun. It's been
Yeah.
great to be outside. Rocky,
This was
Thank-
really cool. And
thank you for saving, man.
We should probably mention that this is brand new equipment. We're the first people to
First people using this equipment
use these
outside.
cameras, so I hope that it works out well. We're getting from our production crew.
Awesome
High
experience.
tech.
Thanks for
High
having
tech
us.
Yeah.
WHC TV,
Yeah.
WHCI, and thank
First
you,
of many, yeah.
thank you, Town of West Hartford. Thank you, West Hartford Town Hall. And until September, we're going to do something great. Whether it's a Halloween show or not, we're not sure yet, but we'll let you know. Keep all of us in your wine cellar.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.